I'd like to make a motion to call the meeting to order, please, and a second to that motion.
So, second.
Second by Steve, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's stand to do the pledge, please. And Linda, could I impose on you to lead us in the pledge? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now I'll ask for a moment of silence for Mark Warren. His mom used to run the Peg Motel, Fred Thompson, and Kevin Swain. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to welcome the guest. Privilege of the floor. Steve says we have a couple of people here from over in
Gull
Gull
Bay,
Bay.
right.
So where might these people be, Steve?
Standing right out there.
Would you like to stand up and just maybe explain? We did get paperwork a long time ago, and Steve was waiting for somebody to get back up north so he could go over and check it out. So if you don't mind explaining that to us, I'll let you just go first
Yeah,
here.
love to. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yes.
Could you come up here, stand here, and you can be
That way
heard then and
they
seen in
can
the
all hear
camera?
you.
You didn't tell me today.
Oh, well, you know, you're at the head of the class, right over this room, Joe.
Sir, stand right over here.
Right here.
Yeah, right in there. There you go.
Sort of face that way.
Got it.
The Zoom people can see.
Oh, okay, great. A couple of months ago, I had expressed concern over a safety issue in Gull Bay, the increased traffic in the boats, and especially where the town dock boats are coming in and out all the time. And what was occurring was in a very small space, there were just a whole bunch of boats. I think I counted 30 one time in a very small area where there's the docks, there's the swimming, there's people kayaking. And it got to a point where you were actually having play docks. And so that I went to the LGA and they said, oh, you know, there's a 200 foot buffer zone. And they graciously lined that out on a map for me. And I showed the map there. They discovered that there's really no place to anchor in the inner bay. You're not supposed to anchor there because there's really no road, let alone the traffic and everything else that goes with it. So I was suggesting I found out that Hague had jurisdiction over the water. So then I wrote a letter and talked to a bunch of the neighbors. And we suggested that if we could take the existing buoys that are no weight, that are out there right now, and align them in a way and have no anchoring to the beach, to the dock, in that space where there would not be any anchoring. That there shouldn't be any, but people still do. And it's easier. I called Joe at Lake George Patrol, and it's going to be easier to enforce if there's actually a line versus, you know, they don't know where a line is or not a line, that kind of thing. So the whole idea is not that to be a killjoy and not have people have fun and people, you know, get out of the wind on a windy day. So Steve and I went out there yesterday. Steve was kind enough to take some time out of his day and came up with a better proposal than mine, quite frankly, in terms of minimizing, making that straight line and not having to make a whole lot of change at all, quite frankly. And hopefully this could make it a safer bay. There's going to be more increased pressure this year, a lot of boats, a lot of more people, people that follow the rules, and everyone knows there's people that don't care to. So the last thing I want to do, or the group as in Gull Bay, is to actually create more work for the patrol. They have a lot of things to do, probably more important than just moving boats, right? So that's kind of any questions?
Right. Yeah, Joe came and sent us a letter a couple months ago and just got back up into town, contacted us and contacted him. And we went over, and the way that the buoys were set up, it was not in a real straight line. We did this last year, if folks remember, down in Hewlett's, and same thing for protection for the local residents. So we've come up with a plan. We've got it marked. where we're gonna go off, just a dead tree and straight across where one buoy is and another dead tree. And I'll get with DEC once the board approves it, and they come over, they put the new buoys in and stuff like that. So it'll make it safer for the residents of Gull Bay and Putnam over there. And it's gonna be easier for the people to be in a little deeper water, so easier for everybody to navigate around. So it's a safety issue, and we've done this before, and we're glad that Joe brought it to our attention. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to the board that we approve the picture that I got for you guys. It's a safety issue, and it's gonna make it a lot easier for the people that want to anchor to be in deeper water, and it's gonna be better for the people that put the boat in and people who live around that area. So I make a motion to approve the moving of the buoys, and I'll get with DEC on this.
And then I request discussion.
Well, we need to have a second to the motion, then we can have discussion.
Okay.
You
Just it
wanna
goes
second
quick
that one?
sometimes. I want to make sure I get that in there.
You'll get it in. Would you like to second that motion so we can discuss it?
I do not want to second the motion.
Pardon me?
I don't.
Okay, well, we can't discuss it without a second. So Jack, would you like to second the motion? All right, Jack, can second the motion. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, you sound like a very nice gentleman, and you raised a compelling case, just hearing it at a glance. But I will tell a little bit of a story here. When I, 1 month onto the board, approximately 4 years ago, Arcady Bay requested buoys straight across that bay. And I, being new on the board, I made the mistake of not asking questions. And we approved those buoys in Arcady Bay. And if you ever drive across Arcady Bay, I'm of the firm belief myself, it was the worst decision that this board ever did in terms of buoys. A couple of years back, no, I think it was either last year or the year before, Royal Anchorage came and requested a buoy. And Royal Anchorage wanted it between this island right out in front there, where Royal Anchorage is. Basically, its buoys are served to deter boats from going near the shore. And again, I was against it this time. I made the mistake at Arcady, and we approved it. And then Indian Bay, in the same meeting, came to this board and requested a buoy. And again, and that was, I will note that it was more of a safety matter, and they made a compelling case like you're making here tonight on safety, and I voted against it again. And I would just raise the point to this board that, you know, I used to ski in these bays when I was a kid, and if we keep just every person that walks in here and we allow them to have a buoy, you know, wouldn't we all like to have no boats around our little piece of the lake? I think we all would love that, but it's really nobody's lake. And, you know, I just really feel strongly that, I don't know, I haven't seen much documentation on this at all. I think I got an email at some point about it, and then I mean, all I've really received tonight is this drawing. This is what I have to know what's going on in your bay and what you're saying. And I just think we need to act very slow. We need to have site visits. It needs to be 100% confirmed it's necessary. I mean, it sounds like you want to put these buoys, just thinking out loud, to kind of deter boats from coming in there. And that's just the way I'm kind of envisioning it without even being there.
Yeah.
And to me, I guess I'm not in favor of that, because Gull Bay is you know, it's a big bay.
Yeah, so that, if I might, there, do I have to stand?
Yes, no, yes, please. That way we can hear you.
I don't want to like butt this gentleman.
Oh, well.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying about Arcady. I mean, I could go over to Arcady and they put those huge signs up there, just ridiculous at, you know, 200 feet from shore. Then I see people tying up right off the signs themselves. And you can't account for that. But Arcady's not a safety issue, and I'm not familiar with some of the other ones. This is truly a safety issue. Having been up there for 40 years, I've got another Gold Bay resident there has been here even longer than me. We've seen the increased pressure in terms of the activity in the bay. And I've never been to one of these meetings. I never wrote a letter to anybody. But last year, I got scared, quite frankly. My grandchildren were in the water, and we got kayaks, and then we've got boats that are anchored, places where they legally should not be anchored. And again, it's not like we're closing off the bay. As a matter of fact, the no wake zones is still there. It's still going to be there. It's almost in the exact same spot that you drew it. So we're not making any, how should I say this? For those people that want to come into the bay and do 90 miles an hour and create wakes to the beach, they're still going to be, unfortunately, they're still going to be able to do that. What I'm suggesting is, rather than have Lake George Patrol having to get a phone call every time someone's in a place that they shouldn't be, let's put those buoys up there and tell them they shouldn't be that, and then make it a lot easier for Lake George Patrol. I'm not trying to kill anybody's fun by any stretch. We already have buoys there. They're there. There's no wake zone's going to stay there. We're not changing any of that. All we're doing is legitimizing the fact that you shouldn't be on this side of the buoy, because really there's no 200 feet this way, 200 feet that way. Plus, you've got all the activity of the, what's different about Gull Bay is the activity of the town put in. I mean, 4th of July, you don't even want to go near that.
So you are adding buoys, or is it just moving the two? The no wake zones are becoming no anchoring buoys, or are you adding buoys?
We're going to, go ahead. You're the one. that
Let me
suggested
just make
it.
a show. If you look at this map, which you have in front of you, you can see where there's 2 squares farther out. That was where they proposed to do it. Joe and I got together and we moved one back and we moved the other one back about 200 feet. So they made a concession. Right. They made a concession to say that they could live with that. It's easier and better for the residents of town. It's better for the people that are on the beach swimming over there, and better for launching boats. I don't see where there's a problem at all. I think it's a smart move on their part to bring it forth. And it's similar to what we did again last year down at Hewlett's, and the people appreciated it greatly.
And then the only thing I would ask though is that, I mean, I just don't find it satisfactory to this board that we get presented this map and there's no letter here in this as a packet for tonight. There's no documentation from the Lake George Park Commission going with this in front of me. I mean, it's absolutely just off the cuff.
Well, no,
Steve and I
Josh,
got-
it's
Steve
not
and I
off
got
the,
together.
you had a copy of it. If you can't keep your paperwork together, it's not my fault.
Josh,
You
we
had a
this
copy of it,
in
you
our
should have
packet
read it.
Several months ago.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
that
got
doesn't
rushed.
hold weight, Edna. It should be.
What do you mean it doesn't hold weight? Read your mail.
It's, and I will note, it's not on the agenda. It is not on the
You're
agenda.
right, it's not.
And it should not be acted upon without a site visit.
I waited a site visit.
You are not the board.
I made a site visit per the request of this gentleman. You know, if you would have read your mail, you could have said, let me go with you. So forget about it, Josh.
I'm gonna
You know, all
hold
you
my-
do is complain.
I'm
Let
gonna
these
hold-
people have a legitimate way to do it. We went back at least 200 feet and almost 300 or 400 feet on the other buoy. And it's a safety issue for the residents over there. If you're not concerned about their safety, I am.
I'm gonna hold my cool and I'm gonna say you're acting unilaterally, Steve, on behalf of the board, and that is illegal.
All right, can we vote?
Okay, now, Jack, I want input from Jack. I want to hear what Jack has. We are, number one, he is right. This should have been on the agenda. And it was not on the agenda, but it really wasn't brought to my attention to be put on the agenda. Jack? Any comments?
Do I understand that there are 2 buoys there and you're just changing the position of them? And you need the town of Hague's
Yes,
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
approval?
yes, that's
And
correct.
it's not within the Lake George Park Commission or
Right.
anybody else, right?
Right. We are authority on the water out there in front, goes to the high water mark on the other side, as it did in Hewlett's and it did in the other ones that we all approved.
That's why they come to us. and
Right,
ask
right.
us.
And again, if it's, we just looked at it the other day, it was what, yesterday? Not enough time really to get an agenda, but with the summertime coming, I think we need to make an exception and vote on it tonight. We've got a quorum right here. And I think that the folks came over and expressed their feelings.
All right, don't usually do this, Tim, because it is kind of out of the order of the meeting, but I assume you had something to say about this?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that it's clear that to everyone, my understanding is there's already rules in place from the park commission that you cannot moor, anchor, recreational boat within 200 feet of shore. This is just going to provide additional alerts to voters who might not be aware of that. And so you're not changing any rules, you're not making it illegal to do something that they used to be able to do. I'm just stating that, that's my understanding, is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ginger, I appreciate that.
It's just hard to appreciate the context of the situation unless this board physically goes to that
Are you
bank
moving
and
the buoys
sees.
further out from that 200-foot marker?
Pardon me,
Are you moving the buoys further out from the 200-foot marker?
gentlemen back there, are you moving them out further from the 200-foot marker?
No, we're moving them in closer.
You're moving them in closer.
Yeah, the proposed,
If they wish to dock their boats and don't have the
Right, right.
ability to be in the
Right,
shallow
right,
water
right.
or swim, or they don't have beachfront property, because those are the people that are in apartment space.
Right.
Those are people that are gonna
Right,
utilize.
we moved them back graciously with Joe, one about 200 feet closer in and one about 300 to 350 feet closer in than the proposed one that they did.
Stay shallow water.
Right, and it's still gonna be a safety issue, correct.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's not changing.
Right.
And you're really not interfering with anything.
No,
No, that's what he said.
Right.
All right, I'm going to make note of Josh's objection. I know Nancy will put it in the minutes, but we're going to take a roll call vote. Josh,
Yeah.
Jack,
Yay.
yes,
Edna? Yes, that passes. All right, thank you. You don't have to hang around if you feel you'd like to go back to Putnam. I understand that. It's a little bit.
Just for the record, I really appreciate all your views. And if you want to come over to Gull Bay on a busy day, I'll show you just what I mean.
Good idea.
It'd be
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Take
all
care.
right, take care. Thanks for coming over, folks. Bye.
Okay, so we're going on to the public hearing on the McLaughlin septic variance. I'll read the notice of the public hearing, and then I'll call the public, open the public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the town board, being the local board of health of the town of Hague, will hold a public hearing on the 8th day of June 2021 at 6:15 p.m. at the Hague Community Center, 9793 Graphite Mountain Road, Hague, New York, regarding a wastewater variance for Nancy McLaughlin. His property is located at 242 Silver Bay Road, tax map number 76.8-1-6.2. Variance absorption field from property line, code 10 feet, design 8 feet. Variance absorption field from tributary stream, code 100 feet, design 52 feet. Variance distribution box from tributary stream, code 100 feet, design 54 feet. The records regarding the above project are available for public inspection during normal business hours at the Hague Community Center, 9793 Graphite Mountain Road, Hague. At such hearing, all persons will be given the opportunity to be heard. Written or oral statements will be taken at that time. Time limitations may be imposed for each oral statement if necessary. All right, so at this point, then I would like to open the public hearing. Someone like to make that motion?
So,
Steve made the motion, second by Jack. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And yes, sir, we appreciate your being here tonight to lay this out for it. And there might be a point at which you might have to walk past stuff with these designs because it's not really too easy to see it from here. Okay, so
Good evening, my name is Mitch Dunlap, I have the Environmental Design Partnership. We're here tonight seeking wastewater variances for the proposed septic system at 252 Silver Bay Road. The proposed septic system is to replace the existing septic system. That's essentially a septic tank to an effluent pump that to a seepage pit up on the corner of the property that's 50 to 60 feet off of the existing. We're proposing to replace that septic system with a new Claris Fusion 800, which is a tank treatment unit that would then flow to a pump tank that would pump up, connect to the existing force main that goes under Silver Bay Road, then up to a new Elgin absorption trench lateral system. Up where the Elgin system would be is where the 3 variances are requested. The variances are requested for the setback with the distribution box to the existing stream. That's about 52 feet, and the town requirement is 100 feet. The second variance would be the closest absorption lateral to the stream is about 52 feet, with the town requirement being 200 feet. And lastly, to kind of get that system as far away from the stream as possible, there's a setback to the property, the neighboring property line that's supposed to be 10 feet that we're 8 feet off of, so there's 2 feet relief requested for that. We believe that this new system is above and beyond what's there now, and great improvement to that seepage pit. We did get some comment from the town review engineer, which we responded to last week, addressing all the concerns. With that, just turn over to the board for any questions or comments. Thank you.
All right, we'll start, well, I'm gonna start with the audience because that's why it's a public hearing, so if they have questions, so let's start with the audience, if anybody else that has a question. Please stand, state your name, and Pam, move up closer so we can all.
Could you come up closer to the table? Thank you.
I'm Pam Peterson, Lakeshore Drive. I'm also on the planning board, so I have some questions. First of all, Cedarwood, under Cedarwood recommendations, my question is, on number 1, a 5-bedroom home and garage / guest cottage presented to the planning board. It's a garage with a yoga studio upstairs. There's no guest cottage,
Correct, it's yoga studio.
yoga studio. And the proposed was a bathroom with a sink. They also were proposing a laundry downstairs, but that hasn't, who knows about that. The next question is, I have a question, number 7, the reserved area for the septic system. So I'm not sure where that area is.
So the reserve, so really on this, with the well over here, the slopes on the site, the only real place suitable with best soil that's wide enough for a septic system is up in this area.
I walked it, I know, I'm familiar with it.
And so the reserve area, if it were to be replaced, it would be replaced in a similar footprint to that area.
Okay. My next question is power failure. Is this attached to a generator?
So when the power fails, it typically these systems would have an alarm.
You have to step up closer so they can hear you better, thank you.
So in the event of a power failure, these pump systems typically have an alarm that would be hooked up to a shut off for the water. And there's a certain amount of capacity to hold any additional water that would be entering the septic system during.
So it shuts down? It shuts down.
Yes, that's correct.
And so it's not attached to a generator? It doesn't?
It can be attached to it.
Okay,
It's
I'm
either-
questioning that. Okay. The next question I have is, insulated pipes for the winter. That's a really long length from down to up that slope. And my question is, in 0 degrees, what's the story with insulated pipes?
So the force main would have a weep hole drilled in the pump chamber, so that anything that didn't get pumped up into the field and into the absorption area would drain back down to the pump tank.
Okay, that's.
We would also most likely add a heat trace to that one.
A heat trace.
Yeah.
A heat, so put that down, heat trace, okay. Next question, very steep hillside, extremely steep. You haven't discussed, we have no pictures of that slope. And the proposal was a wall to, for the steep, to along there to be built to stabilize that slope.
It would be a retaining wall.
A retaining wall. I don't see any pictures about that.
Would you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry.
A retaining wall on the slope. There's nothing, I mean, there's no
This is a retaining
pictures,
wall here made out of stone, am I correct?
It's in this diagram.
but there's no pictures for you to see what that slope looks like.
Of the degree of the slope?
Correct. Have you been to the site?
Haven't been to this site.
Okay, that would be important, I think.
Well, I know that.
Okay, all right. And I question the disturbance. So the pipes that are old, that are there, you pull those out?
So actually, that was one of the comments. So we were proposing to connect to the existing force main. It's known to be a polyethylene pipe. So one of the comments from Cedarwood was to actually pressure test that for any leaks or anything. So that would be part of the work, is to pressure test it, make sure it wasn't leaking, make sure it was still working properly, and then if it wasn't, it would be replaced.
My concern still is towards the brook and any disturbance along there. And let's see, that was my question about the old pipes, if they were gonna be left.
So using the existing piping would be the best case to minimize disturbance, because you wouldn't be.
Correct,
you wouldn't be disturbed about that,
absolutely.
so.
Can you put another smaller pipe inside
I
there?
believe it's a 2-inch pipe right now, and you have to stay with a
Less.
2-inch pipe.
Yeah, let's say 2 inch, that
Yeah.
has to be.
Okay. So my comments are still, I'm concerned about disturbance. I'm concerned about close to the stream, which runs continuously. So those are my comments.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience? All right, now let's come up back to the board then. Josh?
I have no.
I would like to say, and I know that you mentioned it before, originally, I know that you had gotten a 3-page document from Cedarwood about things that they felt you need to look into. I think they had maybe like a total of 15?
Yep.
And it said the first 12 of those had been satisfied, they had no problem with the way
Okay.
that you had dealt with that. And they did make the recommendation, however, those like 13, 14, 15, that if we pass this, we would kind of make those a condition of the pass.
Yep,
But I think you're also aware of that, am I correct?
Yes, so and we were thinking, make those conditions, if we needed to add those on the plans as well, separate notes or anything like that, that's.
Okay. Jack?
I think you answered my question about this June 3rd Cedarwood report.
Right, that 3-page copy I didn't get to you because I know they had to kind of do the corrections, and that's why then I tried to get the one that I received this morning explaining that they were satisfied with what they had come up with. They had mentioned the proposed system, but did suggest to us about these last 3 things going in, but I know that they had also touched base with these gentlemen to let them know that they thought that's the way it should be.
And I did have just one question.
Certainly.
So this is an existing system, correct?
That's correct.
What is the distance away from the stream right now?
So we don't have the, exact, just because it's.
Or what's the proposed increase of distance to the stream?
So the existing system, we're at 52 with the new system, but this is also a seepage pit that's there now. This is Elgin Mass, which is an enhanced treatment in itself, and the septic, it's not a traditional septic tank, it's also an enhanced treatment septic tank.
So you, okay. All right, so it's only an 8-foot increase at most, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
That's my question.
Steve, you have any questions?
No, I think that they answered the questions on the back page, where they referenced 13, 14, and 15. And I do plan to go take a look at it probably tomorrow.
Well, we usually do. to
Right,
just make sure.
always make sure.
But I know the
that-
planning board is
Right.
banned, the zoning board is banned, so they're
Right.
getting scrutiny
Right.
from everyone.
Right.
I would like to read these 3 conditions, because if we approve it,
Please.
these 3 conditions are going to be part of this. An acknowledgement statement needs to be included on the finalized as-built plans, which will be provided to the town of Hague for its file. The statement must be signed by the homeowner and include the following. A, an executed operation and maintenance contract is required for the life of the system. B, if the property is transferred, the new buyer must be made aware of the operation and maintenance requirements of the system. The operation and maintenance requirements should be included with the property's deed so that future owners are made aware of the operation and maintenance requirements of the system. The applicant should provide as-built drawings to the town of Hague zoning administrator when construction is completed. And we had one other system that we had worked on, if you remember right, it's down on Lake Shore Drive on the left-hand side where we had to put conditions in that one too. So I just wanted everybody here and the people in the audience to be aware that we approve it, it will be approved with those conditions. Yes, sir.
And I just want to add one thing, with these Claris, the advanced treatment unit,
Right.
the manufacturer actually has, whoever the applicant chooses to buy this system from, one of the suppliers, they have operation and maintenance whole agreement that comes with the system for the lifetime of the system.
Okay.
Such as it has to be pumped out every 3 years, and things like that.
Oh, good. I did. I read that over someplace in here. So that's very good. All right, thank you. Anybody else with any more comments? If not,
One in the back.
oh, yes, Ginger?
I just know in the past, in situations like this, when there has to be a report on a regular basis to the town, for instance, about the maintenance,
Mhm.
has the town set up like a tickler file? I mean, who then ensures that this happens? I mean, the property owner, they're responsible to remember, but then if they forget,
I believe, Ginger, it's going to start with the zoning enforcement officer. Luckily, we've only had one other one that we haven't totally finished up yet, so we do have time, but that's the way we're looking at it. All this information will go to the zoning enforcement officer, who will then have it in file. And then, you know,
Okay.
set it up, but we definitely have made arrangements for that.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I'd like the motion then to close the public hearing. Steve made the motion, second to motion. Jack, all those in favor? I usually do this because I need to hold these gentlemen up because they have to travel away. So why don't we go on down to the resolution to approve the septic variance from the Walkland tax map number 76, which would be number 3 under new business. 76.8-1-6.2, 252 Silver Bay Road. We do have the report from Cedarwood. We kind of took up the fact that we really are not really knowledgeable on some of this, so we decided we need to go to the engineer so they could come back to us for the report. So if there's someone here who would like to make that motion, Pam's objections have also been put in the minutes, so we know where she stands on that. So would someone like to make the motion to approve the variances for the Lake Walkland? Jack make the motion, second to motion. Steve?
Just discussion,
Yes.
we are gonna approve, well, we're gonna vote on this, but with the conditions that they are going to meet the Cedar
Right.
Engineering,
absolutely.
all the recommendations of
Well,
Cedarwood,
basically.
going in the deed and everything like that,
I
right?
have this, so I can hand it to Nancy, so she can just make sure it's part of the minutes.
Good,
So, yes.
thank you.
You're welcome, I'm sure. So yes, I made sure I have it. So, all right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming tonight. We appreciate that. And hope everything else works well. I guess we probably have one more hurdle to go through, I think. So,
Oh, I appreciate it.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I need a motion to pay general highway and sewer claims. Who made the motion, second to the motion?
Second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. The motion to accept the minutes as printed, subject to corrections for May 11, 2021. Nancy, did you have the minutes to do? Okay.
Oh, no, that's
That was a
the
vote.
town, that's what ordinance.
So May 11, did you have anything else on May 11?
I don't have any.
If not, Nancy, what do we do? Just put that off till next month? I mean, because I don't have any,
Are they okay for you?
truthfully, I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But those, I don't know who did them.
I think Melissa did, because she was here to that meeting. And I thought she may have gotten a copy to me, because I did go in this morning and ask her about them, but I don't
You
see.
know, I'm just not, I got a lot of papers.
Yeah, I know you do, but if not, I don't know whether to, should we,
Hold on till next.
I guess.
I don't think it's prudent.
Right.
Because we have record minutes if you haven't read them. June 8th, and that's today.
Right, yeah. So how do we do that? What kind of a motion? do we
Would
do?
be table?
Table it.
Okay, let's do that. Would
Table
someone,
pending approval.
right, I will make the motion to table the minutes for May 11th meeting until next month.
So moved. Or second, excuse me.
Second.
I'm not used to you making motions.
I
like
know,
that.
but I figured I'm short one person.
I know.
I'm gonna jump in. Okay, thanks, Josh. Any additions are correct? Well, we can't do that
Can't do
either. We're
that,
tabling. Okay, so all in favor of tabling until next month?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, go on to the regular committee reports, administrative, the assessor, I put a sheet in your folder that they just kind of fill us in of what we can do for the month. I always think it's interesting. Finance, insurance, we just renewed our insurance, those were selected for the overall policy, and you'll see that there's kind of a hefty bill in there for that, like $30,000. If you saw that, that's the renewal of our insurance. Our buildings and ground. Well, Marty's not here. Josh, anything?
I don't have anything other than this caterpillar catastrophe.
Yeah, it sure is, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
oh, I know,
Going down to the beach, walking up the steps here, it's just like,
sure.
okay. I wanted to see though, Josh, I hope you noticed that new fence we put up. at the
Oh, I
school.
did notice. I thought it was an excellent job. I should have thought to mention that.
But it does make a difference.
It,
if it looks-
I really think it looks very professional.
Right. And we will have 3 gates made where those 3 openings are, but we decided that's something we can wait till like the fall when all this other kind of stuff is caught up on. And then we'll work on getting those done. But I was impressed. The last time I drove by, I just thought it looked very nice. Quite a difference from that old chain link fence that we.
Real quick on that, and we're also trying to get a grant for soil and water to have it hydro-seeded, so this way.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Working diligently.
Okay, thank you kindly. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna go back to you as long as you're here,
Yeah,
Tim.
that's 10.
Fill us in on the highway, please, what you guys have been up to.
Highway school.
Oh, yeah, come up here. You want to-
We just recently received some funding to put in new Keystone going up to J Pond, it's taken care of today, fix any damage roads. It's taking care of cleaning off Summit and getting ready to do another stormwater prevention system through soil and water again, through other grant ones that we received for cleaning up shoulder, Bobby Jean's house there in the highway school for the last 3 days.
That's virtual, right?
Virtual, yeah, it's going well. Another key point is we're also working on funding for a self-sustainable salt shed. So we will be meeting with the grant writers Friday, myself and Donnie, going over with them what we're trying to do to help prevent the chlorides from seeping into the lake. We've taken our salt tonnage from over 1,600 tons a year, we've dropped it down to 500 tons this year. So that's over 2 years of salt worth of savings for the town
Right.
and saving damage to the lake as well. So we're just moving steadily along. We're waiting on finalization from FEMA. We have a $500,000 project to be done for putting in an open box culvert for McCoy Road. We're in the final approval stages to have the yard road done, which is another $575,000, maybe even more. So then we have to be careful with that in our budget.
Right.
Because they only allow so much.
Now, Tim, this one, we're opening bids on June 23rd.
Yes.
Are those the bids for the McCoy Road?
Yes, it is. The process will have an open bid June 10th
Okay,
here,
right.
tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay,
And then we'll be meeting with 7 firms that
okay,
are interested, and then we'll bring it up to the job site. We'll be handling material and trucking, so this way it saves on the cost of the taxpayers and the burden of the budget. So we'll be working with
very good, thank you. Tim, I can tell you this, has been working hard on all of this, the FEMA reports that he's having to keep on top of, him having those computer skills sure does make a difference, though. So we appreciate that, thank you, Tim.
What's a self-sustainable salt shed?
What we're trying to do is collect rainwater over an average of our rain catch season instead of paying money for trucking water out of Lake George for trucks, which costs $500 a day to operate. So if we can contain over 32,000 gallons of rainwater, we use 16,000 gallons of pre-treated chloride this season alone without actually running the truck. We're saving $2,000 every time that we go and make a batch of brine by doing it
Smart.
through the grant and putting in infiltrators along with the ground to clean up the sediment, which is what we're working on. That's going to enable us to help protect the environment from the runoff that comes off the highway department.
Thank you.
So we're trying to keep it clean and cheap.
Good
So we're
explanation.
working on, there's a contract in here that I need to get authorization to sign because we have a grant writer who contacted Tim, so she makes sure he gets everything that he wants. And we were fortunate in the funds that we're getting for the grant writer are coming from the LGA and the fund and offered to pay that for us. So that's not any money out of the town coffers, but it gets us, you know, a grant writer.
Reduction program that everybody's been working hard at, the education of all the drivers
Right.
and town employees.
Yeah. It is amazing. Okay, thank you. Okay, museum, Josh. But you've been on that last meeting. You said, we're having a meeting in 2 weeks, and I never saw a whole bunch of people.
Well, I know that I've gotten some emails, there's a meeting in the works
Okay.
right now, I know that.
All right.
I don't have anything.
Okay, now, but they have been meeting regularly. They haven't gotten back in that pattern yet, have they?
I think that the goal is to try to get there,
Okay.
but I can't answer that question.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Okay, personnel, Jack?
Nothing to report.
Okay, as far as planning, zoning, stormwater, Mike isn't here, we didn't get that report. He is, still an adjustment for him to get caught up on all the zoning and planning. It's been a very tedious process, but we'll get there. All right, town park beautification, Steve.
Well, the boat launch is open, you know, mainly on the weekends right now. We plan to open the visitor center and the lifeguards. The Lifeguards will be taking a class in 2 weeks prior to opening. And I'd like to nominate a few people for the visitor center. Jamie right now is working at the boat launch. She would like to work there. Pat, with Pat out there, Susan Adair, and Karen Semigranite, and Chloe DeRico as the lifeguard. So I'd like to put them forward to the board for approval. They all presently have worked with the town and are currently working at the town, and Chloe's not, but obviously she will be after she finishes her class, and we'll open it up on the 26th. So I'd like that.
You want to make that
Make a
motion?
motion to put those people's name forth to be employed at the visitor center and the lifeguard.
All right, I'd like a second to that, please. Jack will make the second. I just will make one comment. Again, this really should have been on the agenda. It should have been there as an item that we were going to act upon.
Right,
So
right.
I'm just reminding you. of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't remind you because I didn't even think about the meeting tonight that they should have been on here, but yeah,
right.
it should have been an item on the agenda. And maybe if you get together with Nancy afterward, that she didn't get all of those names and that you should.
I give it to her.
Okay, is that
I
all right?
didn't get them.
Well, that's fine. It's something that he could help you out with. Okay, so nothing else there, Steve?
Really, that's about it. We can talk about environmental concerns.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. All right, let's go back to Jack then with sewer district number 1 and number 2.
Can I just add on the personnel, we still need to have a
Oh, I
town
see.
clerk.
Yes, I'm sorry, Randall.
Yeah.
I know Melissa really wants to be done, and I feel so bad for her because we advertised, we got one person who applied, but if they don't live in our town, they can't be the town clerk. And it's just, I'm at a loss as to what direction to go in. You know, I can check with the clerk at the county and she can give me names of people who retired, but that doesn't do us any good. If they don't live in our town, they can't come do the job. So we're still on the search for a town clerk. I mean, if you know anybody that's interested, like I say, Melissa is very anxious. She's been wonderful about coming in to do what needs to be done, making appointments with people that want to have things notarized. But it's understandable. She has a 4-month-old that she wants to be able to spend time with. So fellas, put your thinking caps on. If we can come up with anything, we gotta try to come up with, but it's not easy. I don't know what to tell you,
Understand.
but I'm glad, I meant to bring that up, Jack, and I'm pleased that you did bring that up. Thank you. For some reason, stick right up.
Regarding sewer, the appeals committee that was appointed last month met, and we submitted 5 decisions for the board to act on, and that's on the agenda for later.
Right. Okay, we have that. Is that all, Jack?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Steve, you have something on the environmental?
Yeah, I got a quote from Burkham Plant Healthcare for controlling the knotweed. He came into town, we drove around the other day. You should probably have a copy of it over there. I'll make a copy if you don't have it. It's a bid of $12,000. In the past, the Land Conservancy has helped us with that. I presented it to Jamie and he said they would help again this year. The last couple of years, the Land Conservancy has helped with a total of $11,200. And Jamie did say that they would help again this year. I'm going to present it now to him, but to get moving on this, he is got a whole bunch of work he'd like to start in June, July, and keep moving forward. And he's got a new program this year where there's large patches, going to cut it. And then he's going to treat it while it's down and then come back and retreat it, because otherwise they have to inject every stem. There's some really large patches. The patches that we're working on are close to water bodies that flow back into the lake. So we're trying to keep it from getting into the lake. So, and he has done a good job so far over the past. And again, it's a lot of it's on West Lake Road. Some of it's up on Lakeshore Terrace. And we went by all the dead spots, and there's a lot that's been knocked down. Patty?
Yeah, I just have a question for that, because I'm one of those not me people who are not me for not to do. So my question is, you say they want to just cut it down and they're gonna treat it. I understand there's a lot of people up here before me, but when that storm came through in 2019, behind the stuff on my property that you see growing up again, there is a ton of it already knocked down. So why can't, because there's so much sand that came down from that storm, that all that stuff is knocked down. I have fresh stuff coming up, but I got tons of it laying there. Can they just come and just clean all that dead stuff out of there? I mean, when I tell you, it's probably from here where I am, and this is no exaggeration, you can come look, to that table, behind the fresh stuff that you see growing, that's all just laid down and knocked out from 2 years ago.
Right. He's in the process of.
I'm just asking, what did they do?
We can look at it, it's,
Have him check it out.
yeah, we'll check it out when he comes back. He'll be back up in June, and I'll bring him over there. We went to a lot of places the last day or so. When he comes back up, we'll come over and take a look at it.
Yeah, because it's crazy, there's so much of it that's
Right.
just knocked down.
There's a lot of it.
I
on the
appreciate
road.
it.
Right.
All right, Steve, I see you put something in our folder for that, at least I got a copy of it. We're looking at like $12,000
Right.
for that, but
Right.
from what you're saying, we're not spending that all out of our money.
No, the rankings are still pitched back. Jamie, traditionally, we've always been about that.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure, because when I saw that, and I checked the budget, there was only $7,000 in the budget, so I knew there
That's
was.
what we figured it was gonna be 14 like it's been in the past, so.
So if they're gonna split it with us, that's fine, I appreciate that. Okay, anything else, Steve?
But I'm waiting. I've contacted a company that are up looking at the transfer station to possibly give us some assistance up there. And we've given them a bunch of information, so we're waiting to hear back from them. As far as it's going right now, everything is still the same.
We have a problem, however, Steve, and I think this is as good a place as any to bring it up. We have stuff not being put in the right places. We are getting billed for, let's say, $500 for a hauling fee. That's not all the garbage that it's supposed to be. There's other stuff mixed in with it. So what we have to be very aware of is they need to put the garbage where the garbage goes, and they
Right,
need
right.
to put the other stuff, because Diane went over bills this week, and there were 5 of them.
MSW, right?
And S&W, where we had, the tonnage was like 1.3 tons, and we paid $500. The one that was like the regular garbage, let's say, was 12.6, and we paid the 500. So it's a waste of our money to be paying $500 when they put the wrong stuff in the container.
Well, we're aware of that.
Okay.
We were up there, Pat, were you there that day that we were up walking
Well,
around?
I'd like to answer Eddie's question and then I'll answer.
Go right
whatever you
ahead,
have.
Pat, because I can show you.
Because I gotta tell you, and I'm not being a baby, I'm not being cranky, but the bottom line is summer is here.
Pat,
And,
this was
and
the
no,
summer,
let me just
this
finish,
was the
let me just
summer.
finish. No, you see, that's why I said what I said.
I
I don't want you to
understand, but
think
like
that-
I'm saying, we're
The
talking.
problem is, let me tell you what the problem is, see, I work there, I know what the problem is. When you get, and you know, Steve, you get 5, 6, 10 cars, you're over here trying to help these people, and you're hoping, trying to help people over here. And Steve has seen it himself. You could tell people, this gotta go here.
Well, I
And
think,
then you walk away to help the next person, you go back there, they threw the stuff in there. How many months has it been, no big bags or any bags in the recyclable, clothes, still plastic? Last week, I'm in there with, tell people, turn around, I don't know how they got in there, there's 3 big bags in there. Filled, tied up, which takes more space. So I dig them out, I'll put them on and pour them back in. So it's not easy, people don't listen. If people would listen and do what they're supposed to, it would make life easier. And another thing, and I'm using this because Steve knows the biggest waste we have is that cardboard bin. That cardboard bin could be empty all the way to the front. We make nice sign, please walk cardboard to the front.
they don't.
There's the front, here's where they come. How could we be everywhere?
You can't, but Pat,
Just ask the town, the people to be a little.
well, I believe that, but I also believe we shouldn't have 4 people dumping their garbage at the same time. I've been up there on a Saturday, 4 cars are there, everybody in each car is emptying their stuff. It should be, you're car number 1, as soon as you are emptied, I will go on to car number, somehow or other, we have to educate them.
This is what our plan basically is,
Yep.
and Pat, I'm pretty sure it's Cogswell, Wally is, I had Phil up there. We're gonna change the traffic pattern up there. We're gonna have the people come in the entrance now.
Yep.
The exit will be the entrance. They're gonna come up, they're gonna go to the compactor. You know how it works. You're gonna go out and greet the people. They throw their bag in, $6. You're gonna look at the other stuff, whatever it is. We're gonna have a price sheet on the wall. You'll have a price sheet probably about the first month when we start doing this different. We're gonna hand them a price sheet. Then all Phil's have labels, signs made. As you go around the back, you're gonna turn right past the compactor, go back there. And the next person, after you give the guy his receipt, tell him where to put his stuff, the next person comes up. So they're not gonna have 4 or 5 cars back there at one time. You'll be able to control the traffic pattern. And everything, there'll be signs there. And so hopefully we won't have a problem with MSW. We're holding off on doing that. I'm waiting for this company who is gonna get back to us on possibly assisting in the operation. So we didn't put the signs up there, but we're definitely gonna do that.
I understand, Steve, all I'm saying is.
I know, it's
you
crazy.
tell the person, that mattress goes right there. You turn around and
And then
one
put it
and
someplace
go
else.
in one next
Right,
one.
right. All we can do is, and when I spoke to the gentleman at the other transfer stations, and they had some changes, they said it takes about 3 weeks for the people to understand the changes. So when they come in, here's a sheet, this is where this goes, you tell them where it goes, you weigh you don't weigh the bag, you count the bags, this is metal, it's gonna be this much, this much, this much, you write the ticket up, you go back in the office, you give them money, they go on, you give them the receipt, next car comes up. We're not gonna have 5 cars in the back. Maybe there'll be a delay for a few minutes, but we're gonna be able to control the cars that go in the back. Because they got to come in, the first place is they're gonna come in is where they exit now. And if people don't wanna do it that way, then we'll ask them to take it to Ticonderoga. But there is a way we can control it, and it's pretty simple. All the other places do it. And I know with you and Wally up there, it should be a laydown. but we're gonna give them sheets of information, where they put the stuff, how much it is, so there's no confusion. They pay, you give them a receipt, they go, next car, come on up, Carol. Carol comes up next. The other person's running around, right? We're not gonna have all the people in the back running all over the place. Doesn't work.
And I gotta be honest with you, I don't see the book.
Well,
What do you say now?
It works in all the other ones. If the people in Hague can't follow directions like they can in Horicon, like they can in Ty County Road, like they can in Crown Point, like they can in Warrensburg, then there's something wrong. And I don't believe that's gonna be the case.
okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, I'd like to move on to unfinished business. I just put discussion on short-term rentals. This is strictly for the board. We kind of put it on hold for like a month. I think we need to take a step back. The minutes are here, so if you want to read over what some of the comments were. But I sat back here and thought, I kind of really want to know what the board's feeling is. We started on this and listened to all the pushback that we got at that meeting. Josh, I'd kind of like to know, what is your feeling on moving forward with short-term rentals?
I always get to go first. And it's important.
Want me to start with Jack?
No, it's okay. I'm more making a joke, but, during that public hearing, my feeling is this: the short-term rentals, I think that they're necessary in the town of Hague. But it's gotta be a balance. The legacy, there's a lot of people in this town that are homeowners on Lake George that are what I describe as legacy homeowners, meaning
They've
they're
been here
not,
forever?
they're not filthy wealthy.
Right.
They're normal like you and I, and they're good people, and their tax bill is enormous, and they want to be able to keep their home. And I am on their side. But the other side of the coin is that we don't want businesses, or we don't want people from New York City or wherever they come from, right? For people to be able to start buying homes on Lake George strictly because the numbers make sense and it can become a business here in Hague. And that's a delicate thing that we need to sort of be able to straddle both hemispheres on. It's not going to be easy, but it's something that this board needs to take a look at and really try to make sure that when we do pass something that we hit the nail on the head. So we want to be able to protect property values, and we don't want people, running 52-week rentals. Now I'll say that, saying that I think that Edna and I and the board, I think we need to figure out if I have a conflict of interest here in voting on a short-term rental. I've thought about that because my family operates the biggest business in town.
But they're not short-term rentals.
No, and we actually are, it doesn't affect us at all, but if, anyway, I just want to make sure that we're doing it right. But I think regardless, I can state my opinion, and I think our town attorney will tell us whether or not I can vote.
Right.
But anyway, that's about what I have to say.
No, that's good. Our attorney is concerned about people that are renting like 2 or 3 places that he considers those to be commercial enterprises. He said it's no longer just a short-term rental with one place. If you're going to get in that you have 2 or 3 houses that you want to rent, and that's what his concern is that's what we're going to end up with instead of what we have listened to a lot of people that were here the other night. Jack?
I believe that the publication of the ordinance and the public hearing on it was good because it opened the eyes of a lot of people as to there's a potential problem, or maybe there isn't a problem, and make sure that we're addressing the situation. And we need to figure out how to effectively enforce whatever we ordain is going to happen.
That's my concern. I think that's going to be the biggest part of that ordinance. And do we want to hire another person that all they do is spend their time going from one house to the next? Do you have the sign inside the door that's supposed to be here? Are you sure your septic is working the way it should be? You were too loud last night, your neighbors are complaining. And I kept going back to so many of the emails that we got, and their big concern was, what are we basing this on? How many complaints have we had from either the short-term renters or the people that are renting? I mean, I've been sitting in this place for 10 years, and I would be lying to you if I said I had ever gotten more than really 5 complaints about the renters. So I guess when they ask us that question, what is the basis? What were the complaints that put us in this motion? Then I do think we have to sit back and think. As we read some of these emails, it's like they seem to screen the people that they have come. If they have problems with the people, they go deal with the people. They aren't coming to the town of Hague saying, you need to do this and this and this. So I guess that's why I said I'm putting it on hold a month or so. I think we need to step back and think about it and then decide moving forward, what is going to be the best method of moving forward. That's just my thought. Steve?
I agree. I think, what the whole intent is that we want to ensure the tranquility of the town stays the same. And we don't want it to be overrun with noise and trash. There's one down by us right now. The people have been gone since, I don't know. This is Tuesday. They probably left on Saturday. The crap's still in the front yard. There's stuff down the street at another place. Crap's in the front yard, and it looks terrible. And again, if you go and look on the town ordinances, 99.9% of the rentals are I can't say 99, but a large percentage of the rentals are right off the bat. Nobody knew what the laws were in that. They're already, not providing by what's in the statutes right now. What I'd like to see, and I agree with what Josh is saying, I don't want to hurt anybody in town who's had a rental that's making some money off it because some of the taxes are high and so on and so on like that. Maybe there's a way, and I've had people reach out to me that are for the rentals and are not for the rentals. And again, they all want to make sure that the safety is a concern and the tranquility of the town stays the same. So hopefully we can find a common ground, possibly get a committee of people that have ideas, solid ideas on how it could move forward. Get people who have been doing this for 25 years and haven't had a problem. See if we can adjust some of the statutes in town to be able to blend all this together. So we're not out to make people crazy. We're just out to make sure that there's a problem. People know what to do. And the safety is the issue. We don't know all of the problems that come because a lot of times people just take it upon themselves. We don't know, maybe there are problems. From what some of the comments I've got, they're positive and some are negative, but I think if you blend them together, it's a situation where, down the road it could work. Maybe we have to grandfather some of these people. There's some ways that we can do stuff like that. But again, nobody wants to turn into abandoned city where, you rent and you're not here, you rent, you're not here, you rent, you're not here. One of the houses I'm talking about right now, the people are in Seattle. Hell, they're not coming.
They're not worried about.
No, they're not worried about the crap in the front yard. They're not worried about the complaint I got the other day about the kids running up and down the porch at 7 o'clock in the morning. They're in Seattle. So there's situations I think we can find a happy medium, but I think it's possibly getting a committee together with, and looking at the laws, because right now, if you look at that law and you pull over that book, probably a huge percentage of them are against the law.
Right.
So we have to massage that to make sense down the road. And it's a situation that I thought the public hearing was good because it brought out a lot of things that people were concerned about. We got a lot of emails that people thought were good and some that thought were bad. So down the road, put a little committee together, hopefully, and massage it. I don't think it's going to happen the next day or two. But we just sit back and wait and take a look and see if we come up with something that makes sense for everybody.
And Mr. Sylvester did offer to sit down with just the board, kind of go over what we've gotten down there and then offer suggestions. And I said the same thing I'm saying to you. We put it on hold for a couple of months, maybe get past the summer and then sit down and take a serious look at it again. But at this point, we're not putting anything into effect this year.
And
Yes.
I feel like I just privileged it for the beginning of the meeting. I wasn't paying attention, but I it seems to be very rushed. Can I just comment for a second about the short-term rental?
Go ahead, because I wasn't planning on that discussion because it was just among the
No,
board.
I know, but I feel like I didn't get a chance to put it to the floor at the beginning of the meeting, so.
It got skipped tonight. That's what she said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
right ahead.
so anyway, Sam for us, so, I just want to, first, I really do want to, express appreciation for everybody who came to that meeting, because it really does show that participation makes such a big difference in how our town runs and can make it a better town. Obviously that there is a lot of discussion about what will go forward in the ordinance, but I think that one thing that cannot be ignored or argued about is Warren County. Warren County wants their occupancy tax. So we already have an existing ordinance pertaining to rentals in our town code. I don't think it would be difficult for the board in a very judicious and quick manner to put into that compliance with the Warren County occupancy tax is required of anybody who's renting a short-term rental in the town of Pittsburgh. It's been a long time coming. It's amazing it took as long as it did, but it's fair and everybody does need to be complying with it.
Right. And that's a valid point.
So, and I think that could be done very quickly. It's the law. We cannot debate it. It's Warren County's law.
But people, like I know my sister had a bed and breakfast in Warrensburg, and that was her complaint. She had to collect the sales tax, the occ tax, but there were 37 other people in Warrensburg that were renting out their places, but they weren't collecting anything.
Right.
They weren't collecting the occ tax, they weren't collecting the sales tax. And her comment was, this is unfair to me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and there are all these other people out there that are making the money, but they're not having to.
Yeah, and I don't even know how Warren County has gone about trying to ascertain, what the short-term rentals are, or what the town of Hague can do. But if it's part of the ordinance, at least you have something to fall back on to say, look, it is the law, and if you're short-term rental, you are paying your 4% occupancy.
I know Mike Swan has been working with Airbnb and Adirondack owner with Adirondack.
Right, well, but and there's a lot of
He's
people,
got contracts with them.
right, but there's a lot of people who fly under the radar too, so.
Oh, yeah, but they're well aware of that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah,
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
We will get back to that, but I'd like to get a couple of things finished up. Jack, you sent us out an email on Zoom, so I guess I'm going to leave this discussion for you. I do have the email that you sent out, but I think you maybe want to just have a little say on that.
Great. First, by way of background, COVID changed a lot of things. And so we were trying to adapt to in really December, January, how were we going to cope with it? And the town board isn't always well attended. I'm glad to see all these people here tonight. This is good. And the public hearing was really great on the rental. But I appreciate the patience that the town has given us while we develop, and Edna, your support of the development. It really started with Lance Clark stepping up to the, when we said we maybe should do this, does anybody know anything about it? And Lance said, I can help. And he came in, and then we recruited Tim, and Tim is the technology expert, and we got help from our IT guy, Mike Colvin, who gave us his mic and his speakers. And so we've progressed, I think, so that it has gotten so that it is acceptable and effective enough so that I think that we need to decide that we're going to go ahead with it, because I think it's in the best interest of the town to make this meeting available to those people who cannot attend, particularly in the out of season time. And it won't take much. We need to buy our own mic. This is Mike's mic, and we need to get, we may or may not need speakers, but we can make our system work for, I think, under $200, under $100. And it's working, I think, effectively. We had 55 people on the rental public hearing attend that meeting, in addition to the at least 60 people who were here. So I think it's working, and, you know, what we need to do is formalize whether we're gonna do it or not, and just get the mechanics and the logistics in place. We need to address, Tim has volunteered
I was
over and
just gonna
over
say that.
every month, every week, you know, coming, and we need to formalize his participation and how we're gonna do it. And Ginger has volunteered and moderated. We need a moderator to do it, and I think we can open, you know, that position to some citizen who's willing and would like to do that kind of thing for us. So those are the two things that I see. We just need from our own equipment
And someone to do the,
and somebody to moderate it and to formalize
getting
the,
everything set up.
who's gonna set it up.
Now, Josh, you are speaking first, because I listened to Jack first. Now you're gonna be second. I just want your thoughts on whether you think Zoom has been a good idea and should we move forward with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of it. I think, you know, our, a large group of our town are, of the
Elderly.
of the little elderly.
Yep.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it because I'm a little young. But, I think it gives them the option of coming here and knowing what's going on in the town. And, I think that there's been a lot of people, as Jack put, that have worked very hard to get us to the point that we're at. And, yeah, I absolutely support it, and I think it's just transparent that the board would, it shows that we are being transparent in our actions and the way that we're want to do things.
Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, especially in the wintertime.
Well, I agree with you
Yeah.
100%.
Summer people here, people come to the meetings in the wintertime, there's not that many people around, and I think it really plays a good role in the off seasons. You know, a lot of people on the screen, eh, Jim?
Tonight, not really, but we have seven.
Right.
Jack, we're basically all in favor, but this is what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this back over to you for coming up with like a moderator and figuring out whether it's something Tim is interested in doing or whether Tim says, hey, I've had enough. But I don't expect Tim to come to every board meeting as a volunteer doing this. I mean, I don't really think it's fair to him.
Agreed.
So can I leave that in your hands that you'll see what you can come up with for the moderator? You can figure out whether it's something Tim wants to keep on with, or if Tim says, hey, I've had enough, then I'll, you know, try to set somebody up. But Tim is excellent at what he does, so.
Sure.
Because you really have been the push behind this, that I'm gonna leave you to come up with the final stuff that we need. And
Yes.
if you're only looking at $200 or $300 for the mic and the speaker, then probably we should contact the IT person, and he'd probably take care of that for us. Okay?
Yes.
And I'd also like to suggest that, you know, we give Tim retroactive pay for the work he's already done. I mean, oh, we have?
We
Oh.
Thank you.
we look out for them. I don't expect these people to spend all this time. Okay, they're getting it reimbursed. Okay, so that was where I wanted to go there. I'm gonna do the resolution for the salt shed first, because then we have to spend a few minutes on these septic variances, whether we're approving or disapproving. So let's go on to the resolution to sign a contract with Liz Tedford to write a grant for the salt storage facility. That was what Tim was telling us about before. We told him where we were getting the funding, we were writing on it. And so I just need permission that I can sign this contract and send it on back to Liz. So if someone would like to make that motion.
So moved.
Jeff will make the motion, second to the motion.
I'll
Steve
second.
made a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. I think you all got the information that you needed. You got the minutes, and you also got the information on the EDU from the appeals committee. Okay, so that's what we're gonna have to. Let me just say, first of all, we sent out the letter early on, letting people know that the EDUs were going to be changed. We got some pushback, but we responded to all their letters. Maybe we had 14 or 15, which we didn't think was terrible for the number of people that it probably affect. So once they went out, we decided we needed a process that we could at least answer their concerns. So I appointed Ginger, Bill Smith, and Jack Bass to that committee. They met, and as a result of that, we have like 6 that we have to look over and make a decision. And I guess at this point, Ginger, probably the best thing is just take each one individually. What do you say? Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if the board members all had a chance to look at the, individual.
Oh, they should have. We
Yeah.
document this.
So, I don't, yeah, I don't know that we need to go over them all individually, give a lot of information, so if anybody has any questions about it.
Okay, well, the first one we have in our packet is for Paul Breslin. Is everybody on that one? Or is that what my first one is? Alright. It says the EDU should be changed because the property is assessed as having 4 bedroom. Owner contends that 1 bedroom is not used as a bedroom and has no door. So in a unanimous decision, the Sewer EDU Appeals Committee recommends that the EDU assessment remain unchanged for the following reasons. Now, if you want me to read it over, I can, but you've all had this information, so you should have taken a couple minutes to read it over, but if you want me to read it over, I can do that. Has everyone read it over? If we don't have a problem with that, then I guess I'm looking for a motion to go along with no change to that particular one. Steve will make a motion, second to motion.
I'll second it.
Josh, any discussion on this? All right, all those in favor?
Do I have to abstain is because I'm a member of the committee?
That's a good question.
I would think you should, you don't have to, you're an elected member of the board. That's just my thought.
Yeah, I agree with Jack.
You're just basically giving your opinion twice, that's all you're doing.
That's true.
Or maybe you were in disagreement with the committee and you were overruled on that's another option.
I think what's important is you're not getting any personal benefit out of the decision, so.
It's true. Thank you, Ginger. And thank you, Josh, for that legal advice. I appreciate it.
Been through many problems.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Let's take a look at the next one. I have David Jankowski. The appeal, and he wants to reduce it to 1 EDU. Appeal is based upon the contention that the EDU should be changed because of the following. This was incorrectly assessed as a 4-bedroom residence. It has only 3. So in a unanimous decision, the Sewer EDU Appeals Committee recommends that the EDU assessment be reduced for the following reason. They visited the property, determined that it had only 3 bedrooms. So the Sewer Appeals Committee recommends reducing the EDU assessment to 1. Would someone like to make that motion to approve that recommendation?
So moved.
Josh made a motion, second to motion. Jack? All right, any discussion on that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. All right, the next one is that
Kratzel.
Praxel?
Kratzel.
Okay, Praxel. To reduce to 1.33 EDU, the appeal is based upon the contention that the EDU should be changed because of the following. This is a 3-bedroom residence plus a bunkhouse / accessory structure with 1 bedroom and plumbing. It is in a unanimous decision, the Sewer EDU Appeals Committee recommends that the EDU assessment be reduced for the following reason. The EDUs for this property are incorrectly assessed, and so they recommend reducing it to 1.33. So would someone like to make that motion to accept that recommendation from the Appeals Committee? Steve made a motion, Josh seconded the motion. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is Rudy and Wendy Miola. They're recommending no change. The appeal is based upon the contention that the EDU should be changed because of the following. Email from property owner states our upper office area is separated by a wall and door, but there is no closet, so it's not a bedroom. In a unanimous decision, the Sewer EDU Appeals Committee recommends that the EDU assessment be left as is for the following reason. Hague Town Board resolution sets forth the town's EDU schedule. It states that a single family residence with 3 or fewer bedrooms is assessed 1 EDU plus 0.33 EDU for each additional bedroom. So I would like someone to make the motion that we go along with this recommendation for Rudy and Wendy.
They're trying to say that basically the room doesn't have a door, the fourth bedroom, is that? Or is that?
No, it doesn't have a closet. It has
Doesn't
a
have a
door.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's not,
But Josh, I will tell you, the map that was presented
Right,
distinctly shows there are 4 bedrooms. By whoever drew it up, I mean, the architect, whoever drew it up, that's what
Right.
that map shows, it's 4 bedrooms.
I guess I would just ask the question, is it the position of the town that if there's 3 bedrooms, right, with a door, and then there's a 4th room that does not have a door, is that, am I understanding that that's a 4-bedroom or a 3-bedroom?
yeah.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead, John.
This was the first business of the committee, was to define a bedroom. And so we carefully define it. It's, the definition is written here so that the claimant can understand it. And to your point, whether it has a door there or not, if it can have a door, then it will be a bedroom with regard to all the other definitions.
What about closets? The question about a closet. About what? A closet. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that was the question.
That was
Basically, it didn't have a closet.
That was
We-
the oldest question.
we Defined bedroom to not need to have a closet.
Right.
That does not constitute.
I guess the only point I would raise that in the future, and I doubt this will ever be a problem, if there's a separate room, right, that let's just say it has an 8-foot opening, it's clearly just a family room, right? But that could be interpreted as something that could add a door, right? If it's its own room, right, that's a dead end, and it's an 8-foot opening, at some point, we might want to define opening size, because anything could have a door added to it.
I think that's a good point. And right now, we're talking about a doorway that does or doesn't have a door in it, but you're saying if it's more than a normal sized door, it's just an open room.
Well,
Yeah.
Peter and Jack are both on that committee, so if you want to make a note of that, discuss it. Did someone make a motion on that? I can't remember. Did we make a motion? All right, someone like to make a motion on that one?
I would, sure.
Okay, Josh will make the motion, second motion to Jack. Any discussion on that one? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Last one that we have is Wood Firm LLC. No change. The appeal is based upon a contention that the ADU should be changed because of the following. See the attached letter that lists rooms in the main house and auxiliary structures. Owner contends that some rooms are used as offices. In a unanimous decision, the Sewer ADU Appeals Committee recommends that the ADU assessment be left as for the following reason. Resolution number 78 of 2021 sets forth the town's ADU schedule. It states that a single family residence with 3 or fewer bedrooms is assessed 1 ADU plus 0.33 ADU for each additional. Further, a bunkhouse / accessory structure without a kitchen is assessed 0.33 ADU per room. So they're recommending sewer. Okay, they recommend that the appeal to reduce the ADUs be denied. So I'd like someone to make that motion.
I got a question though, and
Okay, can we put it on the?
sure,
floor?
sure, I will make the
Josh
motion.
put it on the floor. Steve, you're seconding it?
Okay.
All right. Josh, go ahead.
This might not even serve as an example, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway. So if the property is zoned, okay, for 1 residential building, and that property also has a bunkhouse with plumbing. So they're only supposed to have 1 house in accordance with the APA and the town's zoning code. At what point does that bunkhouse become a secondary residence?
Was there before. They changed the rules.
Ginger, Jack,
So,
Either one.
well, I mean, first of all, if they built an illegal structure, that's not up to the sewer ADU committee, that's something that the zoning people have to take care of, so we're not dealing with that. But I think what's an important distinction here, and this, does that address your question?
I understand you're not dealing with that. I just question or not, like, for instance, if I have a vacant piece of property, I guess I'm just wondering for the kind of the benefit of the town, if you have a vacant piece of property, it's allowed 1 home, I build 1 home, then I go ahead and I build a bunkhouse with a bedroom with plumbing in it. I just wonder if that's legal in the eyes of the town, because I'm seeing a lot of bunkhouses in here.
Well, again, that would be the CEO would be, you
Right.
know, would have to know about it, but, I'm not.
I guess it's probably not a question for you. I'm
Yeah.
kind of posing it to the board as a question of our position of what the town, how we feel about that.
Oh, I think we would need to get some help from David, the assessor. That enters into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's an illegal structure, the town needs to enforce its laws. I mean, that's pretty clear. Are you asking the town to work with the mayor to enforce the law, or what are you asking?
I just want to know how we treat those situations.
I would say you need to enforce the law. But let me, I think it's important to make a distinction between a residence and an accessory structure or bunkhouse. So because the EDUs are assessed differently, and I don't know that that's clear to everyone. So for a residence, 3 or fewer bedrooms constitutes 1 EDU. Every additional bedroom is 0.33 EDU. For a bunkhouse or accessory structure, we don't talk about bedrooms because it's a bunkhouse. We assume it's bunkhouse. So the law, the ordinance that the town has, that you passed in April, I believe, says that any room in the accessory structure is assessed as an EDU. Or wait, the third one is.
At what point then, Ginger, does a bunkhouse, so a bunkhouse is just 0.33 of an EDU, right?
Wait a minute,
One
so,
bedroom.
No, I'm saying, I think I read in here that a bunkhouse is not addressed as an EDU, as a full EDU, is it?
No,
It's 0.33. So at what point does a bunkhouse, in terms of the way that we're describing it, in terms of these EDUs?
Think it as a kitchen.
Because that's the major determining factor, is if that bunkhouse has a kitchen.
Right.
It can have a bathroom, it can't have a kitchen. It can have a living room and a bedroom, and that's 0.33. That answers my question.
Very good. All right, we have first, second, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And I apologize, I did skip over privilege before, so if we have someone else out there who wants to address the board.
I have a few things from the chat.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
We'll do that first.
So one person on the chat on Zoom wanted to know about if there's some dates set for the beach cleanup at the park.
I'm sorry.
The beach cleanup, are there some dates set?
For the cleanup, well, we're gonna open it on the 26th, I believe, so
Beach cleanup.
I heard that.
Oh, okay.
But prior to that, we'll get it cleaned up.
Okay. And another question was, has anyone looked into the question raised at the hearing about short-term rentals regarding whether the town keeps records of renter noise complaints?
Well, like I said, if they do, I've not seen any of them, really. I've been sitting in this seat for 10 years, and I can't tell you that there've been very many noise complaints. I know way back, we talked about the noise ordinance, and that is the problem, the decimeter thing that you have to have. We have no officers, and we
Yeah, they
wrote.
that's
Who's going to enforce the noise ordinance? So I think that's probably why I have to drop the noise.
Right, but I mean, and this is me not talking, it might not be a bad idea to record any complaints so that you know,
Oh, I
when you
agree.
start, you know, making a law or forming this committee, you have some data.
No, I agree.
I think I mentioned that I got a call from a person in town about kids running up and down on the deck at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so it might be good to keep a record.
No, that we know, that is a good idea. All right, someone else in the audience? Yes, George.
My name is George Meisner. I'm just wondering why the town does not have a noise ordinance. I've got somebody logging at 6:15 in the morning across from my house. And I called the police and they said they can't do nothing. And the person even that I had on the phone while I was outside says, "What's that noise?" I said, "It's the chainsaw." And that's ridiculous.
I can't explain that. I know when I was on the town board or even before that, I know they discussed it. They just found they ran into too many problems to institute it and we didn't have anybody to enforce it. So as far as I know, they never pursued it after
Yeah,
that.
but if you have an ordinance, the police should be able to enforce it.
But remember, the police are coming from an hour at least away, so. I mean, again, it's not something that they're gonna be able to do, 15 minutes to be there to solve whatever the issue is. I understand that, but all I know is
Did you ever talk to them at all? Did you walk over and talk to the people that are cutting it that early in the morning?
So we're gonna walk up there, what if the guy's got a gun? I'm trespassing.
But I do.
We don't want you to get shot, right?
Yeah, I'm trespassing.
We hear you, George. I don't know, I remember Kathy Park complaining about something. She was up on the hill and somebody was doing a logging like at 7 o'clock in the morning and never figure out.
That's just not the way.
Plus this guy's clear cut.
Well, that's Lake George Park Commission issue.
Exactly. They have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So.
We should just check with the park commission.
But I agree with Mr. Miser, 6:15 is too
That's
early.
terrible.
I would think,
I mean, I've heard of 0700, I mean, that's somewhat normal, but I mean, whatever the time is, but 6:15 is too early.
Oh, nothing to disagree
But
with.
you can just walk around down Line N and look up
Oh, you can, I
the
know.
woods and you can see where it's just clear cut.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, George, I can't help you with that.
Well, who is responsible for that? I mean, I'm not in favor of any consumer cutting either, so who should we contact?
But the Lake George Park.
Somebody needs to make that phone call to the Lake George Park Commission, and their rules are,
There shouldn't be any clear cutting, and I thought they had to check with you. Oh, I know, it's different though, it's a logging company.
their
See if you're
stormwater rules
cutting
are.
down your own, yeah.
But if nobody makes the call, then they're not aware, that much.
Exactly, they're not gonna know that.
So who's gonna make the call?
I'll call.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
I'll
I mean,
call.
that's the thing,
I'll
I
let
think
you
we
know.
need to just have a plan of action.
Okay, Carol.
I just want to thank Jack for being in person at the town board meeting.
Oh.
I really think that town board people should be in person, not on Zoom.
Well, I think at that point, we were looking at the circumstances with COVID and all that, so I think that made a difference.
You had plexiglass, you had masks, it was well addressed.
We're in good shape.
I will make mention that Jack Bass does a tremendous amount of work on this board.
I'm sure he does.
She's just saying she feels.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying that he contributes to this town above and beyond his paycheck. Just like-
Very good. Sure many people do.
Yes. Okay, anyone else?
To that point, Edna, can I make,
Jack and Carol.
Carol,
Jack, go ahead.
to that point, I think it is actually a benefit that board members who may not be able to attend in person can still attend and actively participate by Zoom. So that the process being available is a good thing to have. And so, and I am, as you see, I still have my mask on. I am the most senior member of the board, not in seniority, but in age. And so I am still protecting myself.
Well, good, because no one objects to that.
Okay, Carol, I'm sorry, Pat, last comment.
Last comment, just one little one in case Steve may not realize it or maybe he did. The one I mentioned to you yesterday. If the visitor center is gonna be open, is it possible that you guys could figure out which air conditioning, because they cut the wood last year, to put in the boathouse? Are we gonna get one in the visitor center?
I don't see why not.
Okay, that's all, 'cause I know that might slip mine because the other one was cut. That's all.
Okay,
We'll talk something.
well, we thank you all for attending. We appreciate the comments that you've made. We'll look forward to seeing some of you for next month. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Josh. Second, Jack. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.